Hi, it's Phoenix Jira. I'm back once again with another video, and this time it is about a current event that happened within the last couple of days. We all know that there is something going on within the entertainment industry. What I mean by something is that we know there are certain types of people who are in that industry, and within it is a hierarchy. Some people are above others, and there are many who basically have to conform to whatever those that are in charge tell them they need to do. I did not watch the Oscars this year and have no idea when the last time was that I did watch them. I have no interest whatsoever in watching Hollywood pat itself on the back and tell themselves how great they are. The films they publish are often crap and just another forum to lecture us. So them giving themselves awards for that kind of garbage means nothing to me at all. That's not to say that they never produce good work. My statement just a second ago makes it sound like everything they make is crap. That's not what I'm saying. But the percentage of crap to good is getting pretty offset here. There's a lot more garbage than there is good stuff. The Will Smith and Chris Rock incident is a great example of what is happening in the world today. There are a few pictures online of the incident that almost look like this was a planned event. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to give a possible theory of what it might be like if it was planned. But I have a little thought on how it could have been planned and where that would go. There are rumors that Hollywood is trying to get rid of comedians. Many of them have walked away from comedy and become very bitter and angry. You can tell who these people are based on what they are doing and saying today. When it comes to popular and well-known comedians, many of them have pulled way back from their usual comedy skits. Up-and-coming comedians who are not well-known get away with more questionable material because nobody knows about them. Often they are seen at small comedy clubs or bars and have no aspiration of becoming the next Chris Rock. But there are famous comedians who are being watched by people all the time. And those people are biting their nails just hoping that they'll say something controversial. What I mean by controversial or by making mistakes, I mean in the eyes of those who are offended all the time and on behalf of others, regardless of whether or not those people are offended. Jokes rarely do not offend somebody. When was the last time you watched a stand-up comedian tell joke after joke after joke and never offend a soul? It is impossible. Even with some of the tamest jokes, there will be someone who is offended. There are comedians who use themselves as examples or as the butt of the joke, but there will always be somebody in the audience who gets bent out of shape. It seems that there is a list of jokes being created that can no longer be told, and that list is getting longer. Whether or not Chris Rock knew that Will Smith's wife, Jada, has a medical condition is quite honestly irrelevant. If you are in the public arena, then you are not off limits. Will Smith's reaction implies that no one can say anything about his wife, and that's ridiculous. She can roll her eyes if she wants, and she can be mad if she wants, but for her husband to get up out of his seat, walk all the way on stage in the front of millions of people, and slap another man across the face is very irresponsible and sets a horrible example. What is he telling people? Is he telling people that the next time they are at a comedy club and the comedian says a joke that offends them, they get up out of their seat, walk over there and slap the person across the face? What is he telling children? Children get hurt feelings at the drop of a hat, at some of the silliest things. They just do because they are children. And basically by this example, he's telling children that if somebody hurts your feelings, just go over there and slap them across the face, shove them into the dirt. This event tells some kids it's okay to just go hit someone. I don't think that's the message Will Smith wants to give to the world, but that's sort of what he said. No one likes to be made fun of, that is true. But you're at an awards event where you know a comedian is going to get up on stage and cherry pick out of the audience different actors and start making fun. We want to see them acting like real people, and real people poke fun at each other. They are attempting to make themselves seem real. Of course, that is actually not entirely true because Hollywood believes that we, the common person who watches them on the big screen, are sitting in awe of how great they are. I believe there was a day that would have been true, but Hollywood has lost credibility, and this event sums it up quite nicely. The Hollywood elite believe we should emulate them, and therefore they are giving themselves all kinds of privileges while also restricting themselves into narrow boxes. So imagine you have millions of dollars and millions of fans, but your coworkers are dictating what you can and cannot do. And if you do the wrong thing, they will blacklist you or shame you to the world. You only have a handful of choices at this point. You can stand up for your beliefs and get kicked in the teeth, or you can join the radicals and be one of the forces against the minority person in Hollywood. We wonder why teenagers act the way they do today. I know teenagers have always acted out and acted peculiarly compared to how adults act later in life. I was one of them. However, teenagers today are doing much more damage to themselves physically and mentally, and much of that comes from Hollywood. Of course, hundreds of memes were created within minutes of the Will Smith and Chris Rock incident, and I've created one of my own. I'm not a big meme creator, so we'll see how this goes. What happened at the Oscars is exactly what we want to do to Hollywood. We want to slap them across the face and tell them to stop the stupid crap that they are doing. It doesn't matter to me who did this. The fact that it was these two people is irrelevant. If two other actors did the exact same thing, I would feel the same way, because Hollywood elites have backstabbed fans to the point of people boycotting their movies, their TV shows, or even the places they may be where we simply don't want to see them anymore. Hell, the person running the camera could have slapped one of the backstage people and it still would have represented the same thing. Hollywood is a mess. The Oscars are supposed to be a place for fans to get a look at their favorite actors outside of their movies or TV shows. To see them interacting with each other and maybe get a good laugh or good cry, to remember the movies that we loved, and to see if any of our favorite actors win awards for those movies. Today, the Oscars is just a place for the actors to bleed on stage about whatever thing they are supporting today. There are other forums where they can promote what they care about or express their feelings about events or people in the world. The Oscars is not the place for that. However, that is what it has become. They figure they're already on stage and people are already watching, so why not ram things down our throats, regardless of whether or not we want to hear it? As a side note, regarding Hollywood activism, it's one thing for an actor to go out of their way to feed the poor, or help a victim of abuse, or promote adoption of pets, or something similar. But that's not what they're doing anymore. Now they're actively telling us what we need to do, and encouraging others to shame us if we don't. Regarding the actual event of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock for telling a joke about his wife's hair, I believe Will Smith was out of line. The joke was innocuous, and unless you actually knew the reference, you wouldn't necessarily get the joke. And the fact that Will Smith sat there and laughed until his wife gave him the look tells me he really didn't think it was a big deal. I get the sense that there is something broken in that relationship, and that he may be under pressure from his wife that is beyond what they make known. There's something there. Now, I know that there's really something there because they've made it known, but I think there's something else that's not quite right. Now, since I put together my transcript for creating this video yesterday, Will Smith has come out and apologized with an apology that includes Chris Rock And his wife posted a quick item on Instagram that simply says, "This is a season for healing, and I'm here for it." If she really forgives Chris Rock for the joke, she should say so with her voice. So let's assume it was planned, and that this is something Will and Chris set up together in order to get some attention. If that is true, I still think that Chris was surprised at the force of the slap. Again, this is just for the sake of argument, to say maybe they planned it all along, and to kind of do a little theory on their reasoning, and did it backfire? It most definitely backfired. Planned or not, this has backfired. There just seems to be some indication it could have been planned. There's a look on Chris's face that might indicate he knew Will was coming up to do something, and maybe they planned for him to take the microphone or do a little slap and wrestle or play it up. When Will Smith walks away after the slap, he has a smirk on his face as if he just pulled something off. Like maybe he was supposed to do something else, but surprise, slapped you across the face, harder than you thought I would. And then there's the look of shock on Chris's face, which could mean anything. I believe he would be shocked regardless, because if he didn't know he was going to be slapped, that would surprise him. If he did know he was going to be slapped, then that big slap would also surprise him. Either way, I think Chris was shocked and Will walked away feeling vindicated. I don't know enough about the history between these two men, and quite frankly, I really don't care. I read a small thing that they might have an ongoing dispute. I do know there are some questions about the relationship between Will and his wife, but that's something else altogether. My wrap-up is that Hollywood is insulting the fans to the point of shooting themselves in the foot. Actors are coming apart at the seams. Former comedians are screaming at people. Those still trying to do stand-up comedy have a ball and chain around their ankle. Movies are lecturing us about everything, making it impossible to live up to the expectations the elites seem to have for us. And movies are no longer entertaining. New movies are stupid, and remakes of great movies are attempts to kill off characters or change them beyond recognition. Hollywood, if you're listening, we the fans don't care what you think we should do with our lives. You live in a fantasy world, and you are creating and helping to create mental illness and confusion beyond a recognizable life. You live in a bizarre bubble that you have locked yourself into and welded shut any possibility of escape. I used to feel bad for actors who were no longer acting, but now I recognize that they are the lucky ones. They magically found the exit and walked through finding something much more real and fulfilling. It's called life. This is Phoenix Jira, and I'm done with that thought.